Good morning, everybody. This is Lorraine.
And Jennifer.
And this morning, we're going to talk about a little bit about security, about the things that you can do to protect your devices and your software.
Yeah, I don't think it's any surprise to anybody that it's super important to do this. It seems like really annoying, but I definitely have some horror stories that you definitely want to do two-factor authentication.
Absolutely. I mean, I totally get it. It is a pain in the neck. You go to log in and you type in your password, and then they're like, well, what's your mother's maiden name, your first cat? Type in the security code that we just sent to your phone, and you're in the other room, and you're like, no, I gotta run downstairs. I gotta get my phone. But let's talk first maybe about the why, and then we can talk about some of the security options and which ones you like better and think are more effective.
Yeah, so you're thinking in singular terms. I'm thinking of a team where, like, at your business, you have maybe a one email. Like, so for instance, we have one email where all of our Google logins and all of our Google accounts and all of that. And so all of that goes to my phone.
Oh my goodness.
So if somebody gets logged out, I have to get in, and then, like, is it on my phone? Is it my iPad? So let me tell a horror story.
Let's start with a horror story, and then we'll get better from there and end on a high note.
Yeah. Well, I just have to. So, Facebook Business Manager. It's required now to have two-factor authentication on there, and we had a client that did not have that. And what happened was somebody got in and hacked their account and spent $7,000 in ad spend towards, another business. We were all locked out. Our team had to get in touch with Facebook. And after 3 months of going back and forth with Facebook and being very persistent, we got their money back.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody needs their own business manager. You can't go underneath another agency, because then all your clients are going to be susceptible to that happening. So that's my horror story.
Absolutely. And that's the first thing. Number one, you need to own. You need to protect your business by owning that. And you said you kind of breezed over something that I think is really important. A lot of agencies will have one login that everybody uses, and that's okay. But if everybody is using one login, what you want to make sure is that there is that control point, and you're the control point. When I owned the agency, every time somebody would log into our team account and they'd be like, oh, Lorraine, I forgot the password. You're going to get a code. Fine. Because every now and then I would get a code, and I'd be like, hey, is anybody trying to get in? And the answer was no. And in that instance, having that security code centralized and having that second set of authentication made all the difference in the world.
Yeah. So we recently installed Google Authenticator app. And what that allows you to do is basically have an app on your phone or your iPad. And it wasn't easy to set up. And I think it's only because I have multiple logins for multiple things. I think, the normal person, it wouldn't be that hard. But it's an app, and so it just gives me codes automatically so that I can do that. And I have my Google accounts to that. I have my Facebook accounts to that. So, that's what has been really helpful for us.
My bank uses it's called VIP, I think. And it's the same type of thing. In the early days, you're gonna laugh, in the early days, they sent me a little chip in the mail. My husband had one too from his company
Yeah, you can still
because
do that actually.
mhm. And so every time we tried, I would log into the bank, or every time he would log into his computer server, this little chip would generate, like randomly, it was generating codes every 10 seconds or every 30 seconds, and the code would change. And so you had to do that.
Yeah.
My bank uses the VIP app, and I've actually seen a lot of other companies that use that for their second factor authentication, where they're not sending you a text message to your phone, because if somebody stole your phone,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
You know what this also brings up to me is like LastPass
mhm,
and keeping LastPass is a software you can have as a company that has all of your passwords in it, and it allows you just to have one password, and if for some reason somebody's no longer with the company, you can immediately kind of get them out of everything.
that that is that was the biggest pain in the neck when someone would leave, even if I liked them, even if they left on good
It's
terms.
still there.
It was still a matter of, if somebody leaves your organization, they should no longer have the keys to your kingdom. It's that simple. And we one of the first things we did with all of our software was we got away from tying it to an individual person's email address. Like you, we created a company email that was
Hmm.
the login for the software. And so when someone left, we changed that email. They could continue to get into their emails. They never had to go in through their Facebook. We never had to unbundle
Yeah.
them from any of the accounts.
Well, that I guess maybe I'll go a little tangent too, that it just brings up like ensuring that if somebody else does set up marketing things for you, make sure you own it. Make sure that
Mm-hmm.
it's yours. Make sure that it's not going to be underneath theirs. And, if you guys don't have a great time, that you can't take your toys and go home. I think it's very important that you own all of this stuff. And if you need a list of everything, I'll happily give it to you. Those are the marketing things that you need to have.
Absolutely. I think that um, people do change agencies. That's a part of, you grow to a different place, the agency changes. It's wonderful when you have a client for 8 or 9 years, but there's also times when the relationship, you outgrow who you're working with,
Yeah.
and you need to move on. And the worst thing is when you find out that your Facebook is tied into their business manager, or your Google Analytics was set up under them, and when you move on, you can read your analytics, but you can't really run the reports, and you can't get the data the way you want to get it.
Yeah. The other thing I think about is I think sometimes when people think about hacking, they think it's like this elusive thing, and honestly, to hack something, you just need to be smarter than the person who wrote the code.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so I mean, Facebook gets hacked. I mean, they've probably got some of the best coders in the world. What Google went down the other day,
Mm-hmm.
like Twitter, it's happened to Twitter. So if you think that it's not going to happen to you, it will.
Yes. And I'm going to say a couple things. This is a pain in the neck, but you need to change your passwords. You need to have reminders that every few months go through. I know it's, oh God, I have everything set up. I just click on my homepage and everything loads. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. I
I'll,
have
I'll go
no. Go
ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna say I'll go a little morbid, not but
Mhm.
my husband, my family is well aware of passwords for this LastPass for both personal and for business, that if something should happen, it's in blah, blah, blah. This is how you get into everything.
That's the other side of security is you do need to have a centralized document, a way that people can get into and reset everything. And it may be as simple as if everything ties to your email address or ties to a company email address, if you get hit by a bus, that they know
Yeah.
how to get into that email address. I definitely have lived through that where you have to get into accounts and the employee is no longer with you, or the family member just isn't around or isn't in a position to help you get in. And that's the other side of the security, is to have that safe roadmap for people who can do that.
Yeah, backup for the backup.
Backups for the backup. And then other authentication tools or things that you use to check and make sure that you're still secure. Anything you particularly like?
Not that I can think of. I have a Google account. I'll give one. My Google account with the company. I made it so that employees are not able to have the two-factor authentication on their phones.
Oh, okay.
I realized that a couple months ago that was an option. So we have all Google. Everything's under Google Workspace. So that's something I think about.
I have one that's kind of a little offbeat, but I have with one of my credit cards, I have a credit monitoring service. And one of the things that I get is alerts every time my email address shows up on the dark web. And it says your email was exposed, your password was exposed, your address or contact information, and then it'll tell you which site.
Super, super brief, but I'm sure some people don't know what the dark web is. What is it?
Beyond the happy, fun place of the internet, you have this whole secondary layer of communication where people were going to go with nefarious purposes are trading information. They're buying, if you hear about someone's identity being stolen, it's pretty much a guarantee it came through them gathering information in nefarious ways, and it moves across the dark web.
It's beyond Google, so you're not going to see it in Google search results. You have to actually know that a URL exists to be able to get to it. But there is a huge internet that is there. So I guess that brings up another thing. You can do these where your IP, or what tells you where you are located at, you can have rotating IPs to where it thinks you're in other areas, and that's how these hackers. And it's well known and easy to get to, at least for somebody that knows tech a little bit.
Well, and on the other side of it, then we're really kind of almost out of time, but I think this is an important topic. We actually worked with, when we were using a local hosting company, and I'm sure you can do this with national ones, I just never did it. We actually set up a geofence. So you could not log into our website. You could not even get to the admin screen if you weren't physically in our building.
Smart.
Now, when we went and we were doing more remote work, what we did is we worked with him to identify the IP addresses for our homes and added those to the okay list. That was a little above and beyond, but if we could do it and it was easy because our web host could do it, I was like, fine.
Yeah. So I think that's a lot for today.
I think so. Go forth, set up those two-factor authentication. It's a pain in the neck. Do it anyway.
All right. Take care.
See ya.